Hey, it's Allie, and I'm just here to quickly check in about one of the two main assignments of the semester, and that's the oral history paper. The oral history paper is a 4 to 5 page assignment that's always due around the midterm of the semester. It's a standalone assignment, so there's only this one part that's due. It's not like the research project, which is broken up into multiple parts. So just be aware of that as we're talking about these two main assignments of the semester. For the oral history paper, you're going to interview two people. One person will be younger, between the ages of 18 to 35, and the other person will be 40 or older. And I really recommend taking this time to either get to know somebody that you don't know that well that you're interested in, or try to get to know a family member or a friend in a new, more in depth way as you talk about television history. My grandfather passed away in the last year, and up until then, he was by far my favorite person to discuss television history with. So, looking for an older person can really bring some of this historical content that we're talking about in this class. It can make it more real by talking to people that you know who've lived through some of these events. So, my grandfather, when I talked to him, he really loved Sid Caesar. He would talk about Sid Caesar all the time, Milton Berle, the old Jack Parr episodes of The Tonight Show. Those were things that he would really reminisce about and remember from his youth. And hearing him talk about it made that history a lot more compelling to me as I studied it and then began teaching it. So I'm really hoping that that same kind of effect will happen to you. I've also heard from a lot of students in the past as I've taught this class that this is really a fun assignment. So approach it that way. It is a paper, there is a written component, but it can be really fun to sit down and talk about TV history. And as students of this medium, you're all starting to become experts. And so it can be kind of cool to share some of this expert knowledge that you're starting to have by taking college classes in this field with family and friends. So you're going to get together with these people. It's, again, you have two people that you interview. You can either interview them together, go out to dinner, have a Zoom, meet them somewhere for coffee, or you could do this individually. And it doesn't really matter how you approach the interview, whether it's in person, virtual, or I've even had students in the past complete this with email. So via text, you could message people and have them respond to your questions back. You will be compiling a list of questions. I want you to have a minimum of 5 questions that you will refer to, and that will become part of your appendix. The appendix will also include demographic information about each interviewee and when and how the interviews took place. So that's an essential component of the oral history paper, and often students do forget this appendix, so I always want to just kind of remind you about that part. And so that goes at the end of the document, and it just allows your reader to look at the information about your interviews as they're discussing it in the paper. So it's really just helpful for your reader. Another thing I'd like you to do in this paper is to bring in class materials. So you might have to go ahead a little bit depending on the ages of your interviewees and where we are in class. But our course content will be up on Canvas, and you'll be able to look ahead a couple of weeks and garner ideas about what we might be studying. I mentioned it in the intro to this class. I usually mention that I'm a Gen Xer, so my generation's biggest televisual memory prior to September 11th, 2001 was the Challenger shuttle explosion in 1986. And for Gen Xers, that's really a pivotal memory that television helps cement. And the reason for that is we are school children at that time, and it's a very well covered shuttle launch that was really appealing to school children with a teacher on board and everything. And so for my generation, if you're interviewing people in their 40s or even their 50s now, Gen Xers will almost always remember that. So you might want to go a little bit ahead in our studies and look at how your interviewee's experiences relate to the course content. So I'm also here looking through the actual assignment sheet, and this is found on our course Canvas page as well. This is near the top of the course materials, as well as in the week that it's due under the place where you hand in the assignment. So you can find this in multiple spaces, and I really recommend, just the way that I'm kind of looking over this as I'm talking to you, make sure to look this over. You don't have to print it out like I do. I just like to print out things still. But if you just have it available to you on your phone or your iPad or your computer as you're working on it, you'll be much more likely to cover all of the elements of the 4 to 5 page assignment as you write up the report. So if you have any questions as you work on this, I'm readily available. I'll also accept drafts of the oral history project up to 1 week in advance. So if you are interested in a draft, you can do one and I can get you comments back. You don't need to have a draft for this assignment though. And if there's any other way that I can help you, please reach out. Let me know if you're struggling with this, if it doesn't make sense, if you just don't have any ideas about who to interview. And I can try to brainstorm with you, and we can come up with a way for you to successfully complete this assignment. And again, this is a 4 to 5 page paper. It is an academic assignment, but do have fun with this, and I hope that you have the chance to talk to people and to get to know them a little bit better. And again, I've had a lot of students in the past say that it was really cool. They got to interview their mom or their aunt or a grandparent, and they got to see a little bit of their lives that they hadn't previously known about. So have fun with this assignment, and if you're having difficulty, please reach out. Thank you for your attention.